Alcoholism is a choice. By the end of the speech, you'll understand why. I have one family member and I have one high school friend that are both recovering alcoholics. So first, I'll explain what alcoholism actually is, the symptoms associated with it, and the phases that the person goes through. And second, I'll explain why it's a choice that they make. And finally, I'll go over how they can overcome it and how they can prevent it from happening. So first, a quick crash course through alcoholism. According to the 1998 book titled Teen Alcoholism, in her chapter titled What is Alcoholism?, author Haley Mitchell defined alcoholism as alcohol dependence syndrome, a disease characterized by cravings, loss of control, and a physical dependence to alcohol. Alcoholics have the inability to stop themselves from drinking, according to that same article. And if they stop drinking, the withdrawal symptoms they'll experience are going to be nausea, sweating, anxiety, and if you look closely, their hands will have the tremors. The only way they can relieve that is by drinking or by taking sedatives to sedate that. According to the same article, the person goes through 3 phases. The first phase is called the pre-alcoholic phase. It begins by seeking to drink it socially with others. Next, they move on to depending on it to either have a good time, to unwind at the end of the day, or to loosen up for sex. And then if you're blacking out and you don't know where you're waking up from, then that's also the next step after that. And then before moving on to the next phase, if you're drinking alone before you actually go out drinking, or if you're taking huge gulps and not just sipping it, if you're feeling guilty about the drinking that you're doing, or if you're concealing how much and how often you're drinking, then that is also a characteristic. Phase 2 is called the crucial phase. And that phase is when the person starts losing control of drinking. They become resentful, they become remorseful, they become aggressive towards friends and family members, which causes those relationships to start to break down. Alcohol becomes the center of their world, and everything starts to focus around that. The third phase is called the chronic phase. And the chronic phase is where physical dependence becomes an issue, where they're always drunk, and it's categorized by they're starting to drink earlier and earlier in the day, and they are just always drunk. So ask yourself, what does every single step include? And the answer is choice. If people choose to drink more and more, where did the term disease come from? Well, according to the 1998 article titled Alcoholism is Not a Disease, the Baldwin Research Institute claimed the disease concept began in the 1800s by Dr. Benjamin Rush. This person had a political agenda, and that was to promote prohibition. Now, this is also the same person who believed that being dishonest and being born black was also a disease. And in 1946, Elvin Morton Jelinek conducted a study. He selected 158 intentionally screened candidates that would take a survey. And based on the findings, he released a book called The Stages of Alcoholism. And it was at that point when it was actually defined as a disease. And after being labeled as a disease, it was perceived that it would affect more people throughout the country. So they would get government and private funding as well. In that same article, the Baldwin Research Institute conducted an interview of 545 self-acknowledged substance abusers. And 542 of them never thought that they had had a disease. All of them had thought that it was poor choices that had gotten them to this point in their life. So labeling it as a disease eliminates that need for self-control or self-restraint. So if you find yourself there, how do you overcome it? The first step is to acknowledge that poor choices when you are drinking specifically to get drunk. Enjoying it is one thing. Drinking to get drunk is another. According to Dwight Heath's 1998 article titled "In Most Cultures, Youth Drinking Does Not Lead to Alcoholism," youth are taught how to drink. In wet cultures, young people are allowed to show maturity by demonstrating restraint. In family functions, it's a family event to just have a drink with dinner. No one thinks anything of it. But what if you've passed the point of no return? According to the 2004 article titled Alcoholics Anonymous is Effective, Author Robbie Werner explained the 12-step recovery process to Alcoholics Anonymous. And the first step is to acknowledge that it is beyond your control. The next step is to ask for help and know when to ask for it. So as you can see, everything comes down to choice. First, I taught you about alcoholism. Second, I explained why it is a choice. And then third, I showed you how to overcome it. So there is a difference between having 2 to 3 drinks per night at an event and having 8 or 9 at a particular event. And the difference is choice. It's a choice that the person makes. So one is to relax and enjoy the evening, and the other one is just to get drunk. Remember that. Thank you.